The first time Leon Baxter noticed the Bobcat, he thought it was a trick of headlights and exhaustion. Baxter's Shine and Go Car Wash sat at the edge of town where the storefronts thinned out and the highway took over. It wasn't fancy. Two self-serve bays, one automatic wash that groaned like an old elevator, and a small office that smelled permanently of rubber mats and cherry air freshener. At night, when the last customers left and Leon locked the change machine, the place settled into a kind of mechanical silence. The fluorescent lights hummed. The wet concrete held the day's heat and released it slowly, making steam ghost up from the drains if the night turned cool. Leon had owned the car wash for 12 years. He knew every crack in the bay floor, every rattle in the automatic brush arm, every neighborhood kid who tried to rinse mud out of a truck at midnight and forgot to pay. He also knew that wildlife sometimes wandered through. Raccoons, stray cats, once even a deer that spooked itself into the vacuum area and nearly took out a trash can. But a bobcat in Bay 2? That was new. It was a little after 10 p.m., the sky a deep black blue when Leon stepped out of the office to do his last walkthrough. His boots squeaked faintly on wet concrete. The air smelled of soap and damp asphalt. He checked the foam cannon hoses, the coin boxes, the trash. Everything looked normal, until he glanced into Bay 2 and saw a low, compact shape sitting in the center, like it had paid for the time slot. The bobcat sat with its front paws neatly together, tail stump tucked close, ears upright with black tufts that made it look perpetually alert. Its coat was tawny with dark spots, and in the harsh white bay lights the fur looked almost copper. It didn't bolt when Leon froze in the doorway. It didn't even look startled. It looked fixed. Its head was angled down toward the center drain, a long metal grate that ran along the bay's lowest slope, where the rinse water disappeared into the underground line. Leon swallowed. Hey. The bobcat turned its head slowly and looked at him with pale gold eyes that felt too calm for a wild animal standing under fluorescent lights in the middle of a town. Leon's first instinct was to back up and close the office door. Wildlife could be unpredictable. A bobcat could bite, could carry disease, and he had no interest in ending his night in the ER because he'd tried to play ranger. But the bobcat didn't move toward him. It looked back down at the drain, and then, so quietly Leon almost missed it, let out a soft, strained sound. Not a growl, not a hiss. Something between a mew and a rough cough. Leon took another step into the bay. You lost? The bobcat's ears flicked. It rose, padded 3 steps toward the drain, and sat again, closer now. Then it tapped the grate once with one paw. Tap. Leon's skin prickled. It wasn't random. It wasn't scratching for fun. It was indicating. Leon's mouth went dry. He forced himself to breathe slow. Okay, he muttered. Okay, I see you. He backed out, grabbed his phone from his pocket, and dialed the non-emergency line. While it rang, he kept his eyes on the bobcat through the bay opening. The bobcat didn't leave. It stayed there as the night deepened, as the fluorescent lights buzzed, as cars hissed past on the highway. When dispatch finally answered, Leon started to explain. Wild animal in the car wash. Can you send someone? But halfway through his sentence, the bobcat suddenly stood, walked to the bay entrance, and looked out into the darkness beyond the lot. Then it looked back at Leon, and Leon realized something unsettling. The bobcat wasn't trapped. It was choosing to stay. Leon hung up without finishing the call. He told himself he'd call again if the animal got aggressive. For now, maybe it would leave on its own. Maybe it would wander off once the lights shut down. He shut off the automatic wash. He locked the office. He left the bay lights on because turning them off felt like forcing the animal into darkness for no reason. Then he went home, restless, checking the security camera feed on his phone from his couch, while his dog snored beside him. At 11:30 p.m., the bobcat was still there, sitting by the drain. At 1 a.m., it was still there. At 3:15 a.m., Leon woke up and checked again. Still there. It didn't pace. It didn't curl up to sleep in the corner like a cat might. It remained close to the drain as if that strip of metal held the center of its world. By dawn, Leon had slept in scraps, the kind of sleep that never fully becomes rest. He got dressed before sunrise and drove back to the car wash with a knot in his stomach expecting to find either a dead animal or a mess of torn trash and claw marks. Instead, the bobcat was exactly where it had been. Bay 2, center drain, upright, alert, waiting. The morning light turned the damp concrete pale gray. The town was still quiet. A single early commuter pulled into Bay 1, saw the bobcat, and reversed out so fast his tires squealed. Leon parked, heart thudding, and approached the bay carefully. The bobcat watched him, then turned its head toward the drain again. And this time Leon heard something he hadn't heard last night, a sound coming from below the grate, a faint electronic trill, tiny, muffled, but unmistakable. A phone. Leon froze, listening. The ringing stopped. A beat of silence. Then it started again, vibrating against metal, echoing through the hollow pipe beneath. Leon's spine went cold. Phones didn't ring inside storm drains unless someone had dropped one, or unless someone down there had one. The bobcat's tail stump flicked sharply. It gave that strained vocalization again, louder now, and tapped the grate twice. Tap, tap. Leon's hands began to shake. "Okay," he breathed and his voice cracked. "Okay, I'm going to look." He backed out of the bay and hurried to the office for tools. He grabbed the heavy flathead screwdriver and the small crowbar he used for prying coin jams, plus a flashlight. He also grabbed a pair of rubber gloves, thick black ones that went up his forearms, because he'd stuck his hands into enough drains to know better. When he returned, the bobcat had moved slightly aside, giving him a clear view of the grate. It didn't flee. It didn't threaten him. It sat 3 feet away, eyes fixed on his hands as if monitoring whether he would do the right thing. The phone rang again. Leon crouched by the grate and shone the flashlight through the slats. All he could see was darkness and a glint of something plastic far below. The drain in the bay wasn't a simple, shallow catch. It fed into an underground channel that ran beneath the property and out toward a culvert by the service road. Leon knew the layout because he'd paid for repairs twice after roots clogged the line. There was a maintenance access point in the back lot, an iron cover near the fence line, where you could reach the channel if you had to clear debris. If there was a phone down there, it could have traveled, or it could be wedged close under the grate, or someone could be down there with it. Leon swallowed hard and hooked the crowbar into the grate's edge. The grate was heavy, bolted down at 2 corners. He used the screwdriver to loosen the bolt caps, fingers clumsy. The metal squealed as he turned. His breath came shallow. The bobcat stood, body tensing, then sat again, ears forward. When Leon finally lifted one side of the grate, a rank, damp smell rose up. Soap, grit, stagnant water. The ringing sounded louder now, coming from directly beneath. He lowered the flashlight and saw it. A smartphone, screen glowing faintly, wedged against the wall of the drain channel about 2 feet below the surface. It vibrated, buzzing against concrete, then went still. Leon stared, throat tight. Then a sound came from farther down the pipe. A human sound. A cough. Muffled. Weak. Leon jerked upright so fast he nearly dropped the flashlight. "Hello?" he called, voice echoing off concrete walls. "Is someone down there?" Silence for one terrifying second. Then a faint reply, broken and thin. "Help! Please!" Leon felt the world tilt. He grabbed his phone and dialed 911 with shaking fingers. "There's someone trapped in the storm drain under my car wash," he blurted. "They've got a phone down there. I can hear them." The dispatcher snapped into focus. "Sir, what's your address?" Leon rattled it off. His mind flashed through possibilities. Someone homeless seeking shelter, a kid exploring, a thief trying to crawl under the fence, a person who'd been attacked and shoved into the drain. He didn't know. He only knew there was a voice down there that sounded like it was running out of time. As he spoke, the bobcat moved closer to the drain opening, peering down, then looked back at Leon. Its eyes were bright and unblinking, and Leon had the absurd sensation that the animal was checking whether help had been summoned. "Yes," Leon told the dispatcher, almost breathless. "I'm staying here. I can hear them. Please hurry." "Do not enter the drain," the dispatcher warned immediately. "Stay on the surface. Help is on the way." Leon nodded even though she couldn't see it. "Okay, okay." He ended the call and dropped to his knees again at the open grate. The bobcat sat near his left shoulder now, close enough that Leon could see the individual hairs on its whiskers, but not so close that it felt like a threat. It smelled like dry grass and wild sun, not like a pet. Leon tried to keep his voice calm. "Hey," he called into the drain. "I called 911. They're coming. Can you tell me your name?" A pause, another cough. "Tina," the voice rasped. My, my leg." Leon swallowed. "Tina, can you see my light?" A faint movement in the darkness farther down. "A little," she whispered. "Don't try to move too much," Leon said. "Just keep breathing. Help is coming." The phone rang again. Someone calling it, trying to locate. Its screen lit in the drain. Leon leaned down and managed to snag it with the crowbar tip, dragging it up carefully until he could reach it. He grabbed it with gloved fingers, screen slick with grime. Caller ID said, "Mom." Leon's chest tightened. He answered. "Hello?" A woman's voice burst through, frantic. "Tina? Tina, honey, are you there?" Leon swallowed. "Ma'am, this is Leon. I own the car wash. I found your daughter's phone in the drain, and I can hear her down there. I called 911. A strangled sob. "Oh my God! How?" "I don't know yet," Leon said, voice shaking. "But she's alive." He held the phone down toward the grate opening. "Tina, your mom's on the line." A weak sound rose from the drain, half sob, half laugh. "Mom." The relief in the woman's voice was so raw it made Leon's eyes burn. "Stay with her," the mom begged. "Please, please don't leave her." "I won't," Leon promised, and he meant it. The bobcat's ears flicked at the voices. It stared down the drain as if listening too. Minutes crawled. Leon talked to Tina, kept her answering so he knew she was conscious. He described the morning sky. He told her to focus on slow breaths. He listened for changes in her voice that might mean she was slipping away. And all the while, the bobcat stayed, not sleeping, not leaving, not wandering off the moment humans arrived. It sat in that car wash bay like a guardian carved out of tawny fur, eyes fixed on the open grate. When the sirens finally came, they sounded impossibly loud in the quiet morning. 2 fire trucks, an ambulance, and a police cruiser swung into the lot. Firefighters spilled out with gear, ropes, harnesses, cutters, portable lights. They moved with fast, practiced urgency. The first captain approached Leon. "You the caller?" Leon nodded, pointing. "She's in the drain. I can hear her down there. Her phone was here." The captain crouched at the opening and shouted down. "Tina, this is fire rescue. Can you hear me?" A weak response floated up. "Yes." "Stay still," the captain ordered. He turned to his team. "Confined space rescue. Get the tripod. Get air monitoring." A firefighter glanced at the bobcat and did a double take. Are we just ignoring the wildcat?" Leon shook his head quickly. It's been here all night. It led me to the drain." The firefighter stared like Leon had said the drain could talk, but there wasn't time for disbelief. They set up. One officer tried to approach the bobcat with a jacket held out, intending to scare it away gently. The bobcat rose instantly, ears flattening slightly, body tense. It wasn't charging, but it wasn't allowing that move. Leon's heart lurched. "Don't," he blurted. "Just give it space." The officer paused, reading the animal's posture. "We can't have it too close when we extract." "It's not attacking," Leon said, voice tight. "It's just watching." The captain made a quick decision. "Keep a perimeter. Let it be. Focus on the rescue." They lowered a firefighter into the drain from a rear access point after tracing the channel layout. Another crew opened the backlot maintenance cover and shone lights down. Radios crackled with clipped instructions. Air monitors beeped softly. Someone shouted, "Visual on patient!" Leon stood by the grate, hands clenched, stomach twisting every time he heard Tina cough. Then over the commotion, he heard a voice from the back lot. "We've got her! She's wedged against debris, leg pinned, conscious, weak." The captain nodded. "Stabilize. Cut what you need. Bring her slow." Time stretched. Leon watched the bobcat, expecting it to bolt from the noise and bright rescue lights. It didn't. It paced once, then sat again, eyes locked toward the back lot now, where the extraction was happening out of sight. Its tail stump twitched in sharp beats, as if it could feel the rope tension through the ground. Finally, the firefighters emerged from the back access with a stretcher. Tina lay on it, wrapped in blankets, hair damp and tangled, face gray with exhaustion. One leg was splinted. An oxygen mask covered her nose and mouth. Her eyes fluttered open as they rolled her past Bay 2. Leon stepped forward without thinking. "Tina," he said softly. Her gaze found him. She tried to speak, then swallowed. Her voice came out thin. "You found me?" Leon nodded, throat too tight for words. "You're okay. You're safe." Tina's eyes slid past him toward Bay 2. The Bobcat was standing now, head lifted, watching her. For a second, the two of them, human and wildcat, locked eyes. No one else seemed to notice. Or maybe they did and didn't know what to do with it. Tina's brows knit faintly as if she recognized something, though she couldn't possibly. Then her eyes closed, and the stretcher rolled on toward the ambulance. The moment the ambulance doors shut, the Bobcat turned. It padded out of Bay 2, across the wet concrete, and paused at the edge of the lot where the gravel met the weeds. It looked back once, at the open bay, at the drain, at Leon. Then it disappeared into the brush behind the fence with the silent ease of something returning to its own world. As the morning settled, the story began to take shape in fragments. Tina was a community college student who'd been driving home after a late shift at a diner on the highway. A deer had jumped the guardrail, and she'd swerved. Her car had clipped the edge of the car wash lot and hit a low concrete barrier. She'd gotten out dazed and shaken, stumbling in the dark. Somewhere near the bay, she'd slipped on wet concrete and fallen through an unsecured drain access cover that Leon hadn't realized had loosened after last week's heavy rain. The cover had shifted back into place when she hit it, trapping her below. Her phone had skittered away down the channel where it kept ringing and ringing until the battery threatened to die. She'd tried to yell, but the drain swallowed sound. Soap water trickled. Concrete echoed. Hours passed. She grew colder and weaker. She thought no one would hear, but something did. Somewhere in the night, a bobcat had come into the car wash, maybe drawn by the smell of water, maybe by movement, maybe by the faint vibrations of the phone buzzing in the drain. It had heard the muffled tapping, the weak cough, the human voice, and instead of fleeing, instead of hunting, instead of ignoring it the way the world often ignored hidden suffering, it sat down in Bay 2 and refused to leave. It stayed through the dark. It waited until the one human who belonged there returned. And when Leon didn't understand at first, it tapped the grate. It stared. It insisted. Like it knew that the car wash, bright, open, watched, was the closest thing to a signal tower it could use. Later that afternoon, after the firefighters had left and the hoses had been recoiled, Leon hosed down Bay 2 even though it was already clean. He couldn't stand the idea of that space holding the night's fear in its pores. Water rushed into the drain again, swirling, ordinary. He found himself crouching by the grate with the crowbar in his hand, staring into darkness that now looked harmless. A police officer came by to take a final statement. "You're sure about the Bobcat?" he asked, eyebrows raised. "It was here all night?" Leon nodded. "I saw it on the cameras. It didn't move. Not really, just kept watch." The officer scribbled something, then paused. "That's wild." Leon almost laughed, except he didn't feel like laughing. He felt hollow and stunned and grateful in a way he didn't know where to place. That evening, Tina's mother called Leon from Tina's hospital room. Tina was stable, bruised, dehydrated, with a fractured ankle, but expected to recover fully. Her mom's voice shook as she spoke. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. Leon swallowed. "You can thank the Bobcat," he replied without thinking. There was a pause on the line. Then Tina's mother let out a broken, disbelieving sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. I will," she whispered. "I don't even know how, but I will." In the weeks after, people came to the car wash just to ask about it. They pointed at Bay 2 like it was holy ground. Someone left a laminated sign on the office door that said, "Wildlife is present. Do not approach." Another person left a shallow bowl of water near the fence line. Leon didn't know if that was wise, but he couldn't bring himself to remove it right away. He checked the security footage more than he needed to. Sometimes he thought he saw movement near the weeds at dusk, a flicker of tawny fur, a silhouette pausing in the shadows. But whenever he stepped outside, there was nothing. just wind and traffic and the steady, ordinary sound of water running into a drain. And yet Leon couldn't shake the image. A wild bobcat sitting in a car wash bay all night under buzzing lights, refusing to leave until a human finally looked down and listened to a phone ringing where phones should never ring. It made him wonder how many times the world tried to speak in quiet, strange ways, and people missed it because they were always rushing to the next thing. Now every night when Leon locked up, he walked to Bay 2 and stood for a moment beside the drain. He listened, not for ringing, God, he hoped not, but for any sign that something hidden might need him again. And sometimes when the wind shifted and the fluorescent lights hummed and the town went quiet, he found himself whispering into the empty bay, half prayer, half thanks. Good job, as if the bobcat could still hear him somewhere, out in the dark beyond the fence, moving on silent paws, carrying the night's secret back into the wild.